Alright guys, what's up? I hope everyone's having a great day. Um, this is going to be a probably 7-part series, maybe even a little bit more. Um, and I'm going to be talking about my journey with rheumatoid arthritis and how I have, how far I've come. I'm also going to talk about some of the struggles. I am doing this video because May is Rheumatoid Arthritis Awareness Month. I am a streamer over on Twitch. I am a content creator. I'm doing this to spread the word about rheumatoid arthritis and autoimmune diseases because they go hand in hand. And autoimmune disease is something that is very hard to talk about because a lot of people don't believe in it. It's a invisible disease, and what that means is you can't see it. At the end of the day, some people will believe you and some people won't. Um, so my battle with RA and the disease that I have is psoriatic arthritis. It goes hand in hand with psoriasis. But the difference with me is I have my arthritis in my spine, which is my lower back. So you have, I think it's like five, four. You have four joints. I believe it's four on each side of your lower back. A lot of people think it's your tailbone, but your tailbone is actually the pain. If it wasn't the tailbone, would be more in the side or front. You have joints. I'm not gonna try and pronounce them. I call them SI joints because that's the abbreviation for the name. And those joints do all the bending, the getting up, sitting down, turning side to side, picking stuff up off the floor, tying your shoes. It does everything. Those joints, for me, are infected. What that means is the rheumatoid arthritis has basically deteriorated my joints. So there's no cartilage there. Um, so about, I want to say 2010, maybe a little bit later than that, I started going to the chiropractor. And I, I'm overweight. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty big. But I I try and lose weight. But back then I was a little bit skinnier. Not much, but a little bit. Um and I went to a chiropractor and they found that I had uh, issues with my spine. Um, Basically, the top of your neck is, is supposed to have a curve at the base of your head. There's a little curve there, and that is not there. So my neck, when I'm like sitting straight like this, if I don't bump my headset, it puts all the weight onto my shoulder blades. And what that does, or what that's from, is it's from regular arthritis. Okay? So we found that out, and then we found out that I had issues with my disc. So years of chiropractor appointments, going almost 3 times a week. Um, I felt some relief, but it wasn't good enough, I guess. So then I had surgery on my foot, reconstruction, reconstruction surgery. If I can talk straight. um, And that is kind of when, after I healed and everything was all done, I kind of thought something was off. At that point, I started looking for doctors. Now, let me back up. So, there is a singer from Imagine Dragons. I believe his name's Dan Reynolds is his first name. I believe that's who it is. Let me check. Yes, Dan Reynolds. Sorry. Um, Back in around 2016, we're up to. I I don't remember the exact year. I do apologize, but I heard his story. He has ankylosing spondylitis, which is similar to my disease in many ways. Um, and I'll get to that in a later video. So, or maybe later today. In this video. So, after hearing the story of Dan Reynolds, how he was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis, and he wanted to, shed light on his disease, and I was like, wait a second, all these symptoms that he has, I have. Okay, so now I'm really questioning what's going on here, because I know it was more than just me being overweight. So after listening to his story, doing some research, obviously from websites that are legit, I started talking to my primary doctor, and she's like, "Well, I'll send you to a rheumatologist. We'll see what happens." So went to a rheumatologist. The first one said it was just my weight. Okay, so went to a second one. He said it was my weight again. Went to a third one. Then we started to get the hint that there was something more going on. So around 2016, I was actually diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis. But what happened was I was misdiagnosed. So psoriatic arthritis and ankylosing spondylitis are very similar, along with many other diseases that have RA, because pretty much every disease, all the immune disease that has RA has the same symptoms. So it's very hard to diagnose. The other thing is, not everyone's the same. So you may have some symptoms in some ways, and someone else may have other symptoms, and each joint can be different. Not every joint will be infected the same way as, mine. So ankylosing spondylitis basically means fusion of your spine. Mine did not fuse. Mine has not fused, and they don't believe it ever will. One thing that I wish I would have done sooner was, maybe instead of going to the chiropractor, maybe finding doctors then. But everyone's like, "Oh, go to a chiropractor. It'll be fine." Well, it wasn't. But thanks to the chiropractor, that's kind of what started to push me. So I'm on my third doctor, and he misdiagnosed me. I was then on about probably 6 or 7 different anti-inflammatory medications. So we had to test each single medication to see what worked and what didn't work. Nothing worked. Nothing made anything better. I was still having pain. I was still having stiffness. I could barely move. And so then we switched to biologics. Now, this is where things get tricky, because biologics are the strongest treatment in fighting all the immune diseases. They are not cheap. They're very expensive. You guys may have heard of Humira, Embro, Simponi, Taltz, Remicade, methotrexate. I could go on and on and on. But these medications come with a price. Um, so basically, I was started on Humira, which is the most common one that any rheumatologist will use because Humira is very effective. Um, and I did good for 6 months. It was great, and then my body rejected it. I started to flare. What a flare up means is the pain and the stiffness is there, but it's 10 times worse. You may wake up and you may hurt like hell. Um, there, I guess the best way I can explain it is a flare up is obviously inflammation, um, and it you have stiffness. So with those two things, that's it makes it hell. I could barely get out of bed. I couldn't bend down to tie my shoes. I couldn't bend down to pick anything up off the floor. It was horrible. Um, so I got off of Humira. Now let me back up for a second. So now, after skipping like a year, I think we're into like 2017, 2018 now. Um, before, and I should have stated this before I started the medicine. So I was tested for obviously different things. And the blood test that they use to detect, levels of inflammation showed that um, I had 5 times higher inflammation in my body than I should have. So at that point, they went to do an X-ray. They did a full spinal X-ray, and that's when we learned that I have no curve in the back of my neck, which we know about. So all the pressure sits on my shoulder blades on both sides. And then I have deterioration of my spine from the neck down. When we got to the lower hips, like down here, I can't really show you guys on cam, but it's you have your butt, and you have your left and your right side. There are, I believe, 2 or 4 joints on each side. Um, those joints were moderately damaged, which means that, like I said before, the cartilage is gone. It's not bone on bone, but it's not the best. So moderate is like the second level to the most severe one, and at that point is when I started going on anti-inflammatory medications. Now, let's get back to biologics. So I was on Humira for about 6 months till my body rejected it. Then I went on Embro. Embro was great. I want to say I was on that for maybe a year or two. And at that time I went to another doctor. So we're on four rheumatologist doctors already. And this last one is great. I love him. He's the best. He put me on a higher dose of Embro. Again, I did great for a little while, and then my body rejected it. Why your body rejects these biologics, no one knows. Um, so now we're kind of catching up to like 2020. Um, so after being on two different biologics, I was on Simponi. Simponi worked again for a little bit, and then the effects started going away. Um, and now we are on Taltz. Taltz is a very effective drug. It is probably the best one that I've been on, and it does work. It does do what it's supposed to. Now, these biologics are not miracle cures in any shape or form. Even though they suppress. So how they work is they suppress your immune system, so you have a weakened immune system. Fortunately, I don't get sick that often, but a lot of people do. So they suppress your immune system, and I'm not totally sure how they work. Like scientifically, there's chemicals in there that are supposed to be in your body or something. The scientific answer I can't tell you. So the only way I can really tell you is it suppresses your immune system and it stops the disease from spreading further. Sometimes it only slows it down, which is in my case. It has not suppressed it has not totally stopped the disease. The disease is still active. I'm not in what they call remission. Um, if you guys know who Dan Reynolds is, if you look him up, he was put on medication and he is in remission. Fortunately, remission doesn't always work, or isn't always present. So it suppresses your immune system and slows down the disease. So I've been on Taltz for 2-3 years now, and it's working great. The issue with these biologics is eventually your body, for some reason, rejects it or it stops working. Just like if you take a leave for so long or some other medication, your body gets used to it. Now, at that point, we're like, what do we do? Well, there's another step into biologics, and that's IV infusions. IV infusions are the last resort if biologics don't work, or for some reason you can't do the shots. IV infusions are the last resort, and what they do is instead of injecting, and I should have brought my biologic out here to show you guys, and I'll probably do that in the next video. But what they do is a biologic, it comes in a syringe or a pen, and you just inject it into your thigh. With the IV infusion, it goes directly into your vein. So it's much more, I guess, potent is the best way to put it. I don't really know how to put that. That's the last resort, and I hope I don't ever have to get to that stage because I hate IVs. How am I currently doing? I mean, I can say that I am doing better. I do have a lot of good days. I'm never pain free. I'm never, the stiffness is usually always there, but some days are worse than others. And it's hard. These rheumatoid arthritis diseases and autoimmune diseases go hand in hand. They're the same thing. RA is an autoimmune disease. It attacks your body. These diseases can happen in any place. Your upper back, your spine, your feet, your ankles, your hands, your fingertips. It can happen anywhere. Um, Now, with psoriatic arthritis, most people who get that also get psoriasis. Psoriasis can be on your elbows, your arms. It could be on your. It can be on your neck, your anywhere. Um, and what psoriasis is it's pretty much scaling itchy red skin. And so those two things go hand in hand with each other. And so I don't have psoriasis. Um, we were questioning whether or not I had it because I have pitting under my fingernails. Now, when you go to a rheumatologist, the first thing they'll do is they'll look at your fingernails and they'll use a magnifying glass and they'll look for pitting. Pitting is like black lines, I guess you could call it, and that's a sign of psoriasis. Um, as well as itchy, red, flaky skin. Psoriasis can also occur on your scalp, which is rare, but it can happen. Um, so, with psoriasis, also your nails are brittle. My nails are very brittle; they break very easily. Um, I also get infections in my nails from time to time because of my body not being able to fight because of the suppression of the immune system. Sorry. So that that's that. So in 2024, how am I doing today? Well, like I said, I'm doing better. I'm not 100%, and I probably never will be. I will always have to live with this disease. I will always have pain, stiffness, um, nerve damage. I have all of that, and it's never gonna go away. So, my goal with this series is to just kind of talk about biologics. The next video is going to be the mental part of the disease because the disease affects you mentally as well. And that video is going to be really hard to talk about um, because it's hard because not everyone understands the disease and what you go through because like I said before, you feel it and they don't see it. So it's very very hard for other people to understand what you go through. And I don't do this for sympathy. I don't do this because I want people to feel bad for me. I'm doing this because I want to raise awareness. Like I said, I am a content creator and Twitch streamer. If I can make a video and talk about diseases, arthritis, and how it affects people, I'm gonna do it because it's something that is growing more and more. Autoimmune diseases and rheumatoid arthritis affect over 1.5 million Americans each year. That is a lot. In 2021, I think it was, people spent a total of $264 million on biologics. Biologics are between $5 and $50,000 a month. My Taltz is over 16,000 a month, and luckily my insurance pays for it. A lot of insurances don't though. These companies do offer like payment plans, I guess you could say, or special financing, but that's still super expensive. We're going on about 25 minutes here. I'm going to end it at 30. So, in short, that's kind of my story. And in the next video, I'm going to talk about, more about the biologic prices. some more statistical information, and then we're going to tackle the mental part of things. I was gonna do like a seven step video playlist, but I think I'm only gonna narrow it down to like 2 or 3 videos because I've talked about a lot already. Um, so I hope that whoever sees this, you know, if you struggle or know someone who struggles, have a different mindset about what they go through. Because we don't ask for this. We don't we don't wake up and say, "Hey, I want to be in pain every day," or "Hey, I want to be stiff every day." Stiffness affects everything that you do, from bending down to tie your shoes, picking clothes up off the floor, bending left and right, bending backwards, sleeping, sitting up, getting out of bed, getting into a car, stepping, walking. It affects everything that you do. And so if you have, you know, RA with spinal add onto it, it's a different ball game than just having RA. RA can be in many different forms. Also, I forgot to mention the other side of RA, which is the the autoimmune part. And with that, um, you're I can my body can't regulate temperature very well, so I go from hot to cold. I wake up with night sweats. Night sweats are a key sign that your disease is trying to attack your body, and I get those very frequently. Um, and that's what the biologics help. They help to defend the disease. Um, so sweating profusely at night, going from hot to cold, fatigue, feeling like you have a 200-pound weight around your body. Fatigue is huge. It's another sign. It's another key sign of having an autoimmune disease. So, again, if you know someone who has one, or you might have one, if you have one, push to get treatment, because there are lots of treatment options out there, and like I said, I'll go over more about that in the next video. Because I want to talk about. I'm gonna save that for the third video. The third video we're gonna talk about statistics, scientific evidence, and what's going on with the world of RA, with the fight against it, because it's becoming more and more common. And then we might talk about foods, things that affect RA. So the next video is going to be the mental side of things. And that's something that really needs to be talked about. The physical side is getting out there more and more, but the mental side's not. People don't want to open up, and I totally understand why. It's not easy. So, again, thank you guys for watching this, and I hope everyone has a great day, and I hope you guys learned a little bit about my story and my journey. You know, I can't put it any better than think about think about not being able to pick things up off the floor, not being able to sleep at night, not being able to get up out of bed, not being able to, do the things that you want to do. Like I said, these biologics are very powerful, and they do work, but everyone's different. But yeah. So, I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you guys did learn a little bit today about RA and the autoimmune disease. I'll see you guys in the next video.